has said that Nityananda can start preaching once again. Well, for more on this, I'm joined in by my colleague Nikhil. Nikhil, can you tell us more about the situation? The High Court has granted Nityananda a chance to preach once again, but once in a month only.
There has been a certain ambiguity on that particular verdict given out by the court. In fact, the verdict states that Nityananda can continue with his discourses, but he needs to appear in the police station once in every month. This is again another consequence of his devotees taking it upon themselves to bring about a little bit of a relief to their guru. A little earlier, while he was in jail, we've seen n number of petitions come by, n number of pleas put forth by the devotees union of Nityananda before the court, asking the court to consider his bail plea. If we can remember, the bail plea was adjourned a couple of times, and then on a good number of his supporters and followers had come up asking the court to consider the bail plea and grant bail to their Guruji. And then on that also sought for a similar relaxation on this particular condition of barring Nityananda from conducting any kind of a discourse. 300 devotees of Nityananda had signed a petition and had submitted it to the court, and the court had to consider it, keeping the numbers in mind, and then on the court has granted Nityananda the permission to continue with his discourses, and there is no confinement or guidelines that need to be followed. The discourses will go on as they did before, and this is yet another effort from the devotees' end to make life look as normal as it was before, and this is certainly a step back towards normalcy for Nityananda himself, Anthony.
Certainly a step for normalcy for Nityananda, but it looks like now the devotees want to listen to Nityananda as well, Nikhil.
Well, certainly, I mean, they believe that this was one experience which would have taught Nityananda a few other aspects of life, which would have opened him up to a whole new dimension and the way things are supposed to be looked at. Therefore, keeping this particular episode in mind, and the devotees also believe that this would be one of the ways Nityananda could step out of that traumatic phase that he went through over the last few months. Therefore, keeping all this in mind, keeping their own benefit, keeping the benefit of the Guruji in mind, and various other aspects, Nityananda's devotees had stepped up to the fore. They've done it before as well, and they do it again. High Court pays a heed towards their demands, and finally the High Court grants permission to allow Nityananda to carry on with his discourses, and certainly his devotees are all ears for his discourses. Anthony.
So, Nikhil, would it be right to say even after the video that has been released, it has not really affected his popularity in our city, in throughout his devotees and all the people that were following him?
There are a few questions which continue to be unanswered as far as that particular video is concerned. A lot needs to be studied. The other character involved in the particular video needs to be questioned. A few more factors need to be realized before the video could be termed authentic. And unless and until one such authentication comes from the end of the court, or in fact comes from a few from the department itself who are carrying out one such detailed study on the video footage, it would be wrong on one's part to pass off a judgment. But that is what is holding Nityananda back onto his ground. So if at all the verdict goes against him, probably he will no longer be considered a guru in the first place, and then on there will be no question of discourses. But it's too early and premature to pass off a verdict that way. But in time to come, we will know how original or how authentic that particular video was, what was the motto behind bringing about that video in the first place, and how it would affect Nityananda in the future. Therefore, all those things need to be answered, and only then will there be a question if the devotees are justified in calling Nityananda their Guruji and being a part of his discourses. Anthony.
Right, Nikhil, thank you so much for joining us with all those details. Well, indeed, good news for the devotees of Swami Nityananda. In fact, the High Court has said that Swami Nityananda can start preaching once again. But the High Court has said that Nityananda can give discourses only once a month. Well, that is the big news that we are tracking.